recently, a very close girlfriend of mine, Kim, left this world. She had terminal cancer. It was bile duct cancer, actually a rare form of cancer. And they found it pretty late. You know, it was too far gone, you know, and they couldn't do anything about it. Apparently the tumours were wrapped around the nerves and the veins and arteries and things, so they couldn't operate. It was inoperable. And apparently she had it for, this is Kim here, this is a picture of her at the wake. Well, we call it the celebration of her life, really. But she had it for about apparently 10 or 15 years, and she said that there were signs there, but you know, it's a silent killer. You know, she knew there was some pain here, and she went and had a breast, you know, MRI on a breast, and if they'd have gone a bit lower, they would have seen a massive tumour in her liver. They didn't. And yeah, so many different symptoms actually that were there that, you know, just sort of you don't think much of, you know, short of breath sometimes, and it was all. And she had like adrenal burnout at one stage. They thought it was that, but you know, we're pretty certain that was, you know, one of the signs of this cancer that she had. And so she found out about probably, it was 11 months before she actually left her body. And she had time to prepare. She had been practicing this meditation process for around about 12 years, 12, 14, 15 years, something like that. So she had a lot of spiritual wisdom on board when she found out. And she had 11 months to prepare for leaving. You know, it's something that isn't discussed much in this modern day, especially in the West. We sweep everything under the carpet. You know, as soon as there's a death, it's like your white sheet comes out and the body bags and out they go, you know, before people see them. And people get really upset if they leave a body out for any length of time. You know, they say, oh, you should cover it up and take it away. But really, you know, there is one certain thing that's going to happen to us in this life. We're going to die. It's a certainty. It's the only thing that we can bank on. Sounds a bit morbid, but it's something that we should be preparing for, because it's going to happen to us. And when you lose someone close to you and you go through, you know, all these different stages she went through with, you know, her body breaking down slowly, bit by bit by bit, it was a very long, drawn-out process. And it sort of is a real wake-up call to, you know, that you need to take your spiritual life a little bit more seriously and start to really think about it, because it's like we're going on a journey. We need to prepare for it. If you were going away next week, you prepare. You know, you get your passport ready and you get your bags packed and all the things you needed to take that trip. But we don't prepare for the death, which is something that is a certainty. And you know, you can actually prepare by coming to understand that you're not the body and you're not the mind. That's a really big thing. Someone who knows that, it's like they just slip out of their body at the end of this life, and it's not a big deal. They realise that this body and this mind were just tools or vehicles that they were using to get through this life somehow. You know, just make their way through life. And that they aren't actually the body. They're not dependent on the body for existing. They're going to exist whether they're in a body or out of the body. We all are going to exist. And my spiritual teacher described it that it's like the edamame. You know, has anybody ever ordered any edamame? The soybeans, yeah, and they're in the little pods still, and they come out and they sort of just pop out of their shell. Yeah, they just sort of slide out. And he said that's what happens to us. At the end of life, it's like an edamame. We just slip out of our body, and it's like, whoa, what a relief not to have this body on. We think these bodies are fantastic, but honestly, when you don't have one, it's really good. And, you know, Kim had a little experience like that. You know, it was a few months before she left, where she said it was in the dead of night, and she actually left her body. And she said it was a really starry night, and she said, oh my God, it was just so amazing to not be in this body anymore. She said it felt so good to be free from this encumbrance, is that the word? Encumbrance of the body, you know. It really is an uncomfortable thing that we have to wear. And as you get older, it gets more and more uncomfortable. Believe me, when you're young, you don't give it much thought. But as you get closer and closer and closer to the inevitable, you start to realise it's falling apart a bit, you know, and it's not feeling so well oiled like it used to be. And, you know, and you don't recover. Like when you get tired, it takes you a while to recover now. It's not like just have a good night's sleep and the 8 hours solid sleep's gone. I don't remember the last time I had one of them. Things change as you get older. Sorry to be so giving you such doom and gloom, but we face facts here. We're not all about the fluff and fairies, but you know, we're into practicality here. So when we see it practically, we can say, well, you know, what do we do about this? Well, Kim prepared. She spent the 11 months of her life, the last 11 months of this lifetime, preparing for death. She embraced these mantras completely and utterly. She had the chanting going in her house 24/7, and she said she freaked out a couple of times because she didn't have it on loop. And so she woke up in the morning and the chanting wasn't on, and she's going, oh my God, what happened if I left? You know, I needed this chanting. And these mantras actually, they help us to cultivate spiritual consciousness, so that at the end of our life, what are we left with? When you start to retreat within, you're left with everything you've stuffed into that mind. You know, that's what you're left with. You're starting to retreat from your body. Everybody does. Actually, when I walked down the halls, I thought, everyone looks the same. They look like they're about to leave their body. They all have this same look. And I went through it with my mum, and, you know, I saw a picture of my mother-in-law, and they have the same look when they're leaving their body, you know, and they start to withdraw from the world bit by bit, just a little bit at a time, withdrawing. And where are they going? They're going within. And if you don't have spiritual life within, you've got nothing to go to. You know, whereas Kim had that. She had this spiritual knowledge. She had these mantras. She had cultivated a certain amount of spiritual consciousness. So she had this to go to, whereas many people don't. It's dark. And I had a similar experience. Well, it wasn't really similar, but I did have an experience that really struck me once. I've got a lot of joint problems, and it's a long story, but I ended up with a really, my hip was really inflamed, like it was agony. I don't know how it got to that stage, but it did. And even painkillers didn't work. Nothing worked. And I remember just lying. I ended up. I went into the lounge room so I didn't disturb my husband at the time. And I went into the lounge room, and I just, you know, had a mattress on the floor, and I had the kirtan going. And I was just lying there, and I couldn't sleep because I was in so much pain. I couldn't sleep at all, but it was like I was just in this dark place. And I thought, gosh, if someone doesn't have the chanting, there's just a dark place. Whereas I had the chanting. So I could go within and just really immerse myself in these mantras, and it was such a comfort, an internal comfort. Even though I could see this pain, feel this pain, it was like burning up. I could still retreat and go within with these mantras. I could take them with me, and it was quite an experience for me. That, wow, this is a little taste of what it's probably going to be like at the end of, you know, when you're about to leave your body. That if you're going within, you don't have anything to go within with, you know. So you can take these mantras within, and they are just somewhere that we can rest. We can find rest. We can find comfort, even in times of utter distress. And this is what Kim did. You know, you could see her, and the closer it got, the more she was just immersing herself in these mantras. And you know, even one of the nurses came in on one of the last nights. I went down with her for a few hours one night, and this lovely nurse came in, and she said, wow, she said, she's really peaceful. She said, they're not all like this, really peaceful. I said, yes. I said, because she's been a long-term practitioner. Not that it has to be long-term, but she's been practicing, you know, meditation for a long time. And that's why she's got this to cling on to. And she has the knowledge also that when she leaves her body, it's not going to be the end of her. I mean, what a freak out is that? The freak out is, oh my God, this is the end of absolutely everything. No, it's not. You exist eternally. The body's going to die, but you are not. And we can take comfort in this wisdom as well. And we can be like that little edamame that just pops out. At the end, it's like, oh, that feels good. So death doesn't have to be doom and gloom. It can be actually a really wonderful thing. And you know, it's wonderful for Kim. She doesn't have cancer anymore. She doesn't have this, you know, terrible body that was giving her so much pain and suffering. That's all gone now. And, you know, she's in the hands of the Supreme Person. And there's a beautiful song called Rest Peacefully. Prahlad's gone out to practice because I just, you know, asked him if he could sing it. He said he's a bit rusty, but I think it'd be really beautiful if he could come and sing this really beautiful song that our spiritual teacher, he wrote. And it's about, like, when we leave, you know, we can rest peacefully knowing there's nowhere else to go, that we're in good hands. You know, his hands are the best hands to be in, because he knows what is best for us more than what we know ourselves. And he's there for us. And, you know, at the time of death, it's a time when people turn towards their best friend. They turn towards God. And there's been so many wonderful stories of people when they're leaving their body and they've come into contact with this wisdom and with these mantras, how peacefully they've left. It's been a completely different experience to somebody who's freaking out, not knowing where they're going or what's going to happen to them. And so we can take solace in this wisdom, and we can take solace in these mantras, and just apply them in your life. Just get them into your life somehow. It doesn't have to be a difficult thing. However you can do it, do it. I would recommend getting these mantras into your life. Whether it's just listening to them in the car, or whether it's doing some japa, or it's coming to kirtan, you are going to make spiritual advancement. Even if it's not a regular thing, even if it's irregular, if you can only get along to an occasional chant, occasional kirtan, that is going to help you when you leave this world, because you're going to have these memories of this wonderful time, this wonderful kirtan, and it will be there when you leave your body. So, did anybody have any questions? And even the celebration of Kim's life was really wonderful, because she really wanted to share this process, this meditation, with her family. So there were a lot of her family that came up, and some of them hadn't seen Kim for a long time. They didn't really know what she was doing with her life, and she wanted the kirtan there. She had certain things she wanted to read out. She wanted Radha Krishnadas to do a little talk about hanging up the body, and so even after she'd left her body, she still was helping her family. And they said it was one of the nicest wakes they've ever been to. And it was. I've been to wakes before and funerals and things, and they're really depressing, and really you go away feeling so down. But this one was so, it was light, and it was wonderful. You know, we really did celebrate the fact that she left this world in such a nice way. And everybody experienced it. I think even her father said, "Can you do this for me when I go?" he wanted to have the same sort of thing. He liked it so much, and I think everyone appreciated the kirtan and they embraced it, and it was just so nice that she could still do this even after she'd left. So did anybody have any questions? Something very thought-provoking, isn't it? Yes?
Could you maybe give a real quick example of how to do some japa for people who maybe want to do it a bit more personally?
Yeah, well we have beads and we've got little booklets, but it's just a matter of, I haven't got my beads on, but you can just, yeah, Kim had her beads with her, even though she couldn't really do the japa towards the end, she was clinging onto her beads. And when she left, you know, she had them. They smell beautiful.
Oh, I've got essential oils.
Really nice. So with japa, we just, these are a really long set. Normally we give the half sets out to people if they're not used to doing it. And you just start on the bead next to the head bead, and you can say any of the mantras that we have. We can give you a mantra sheet if you like. I actually like the Maha Mantra, so I say the Maha Mantra because it starts with Hari and it ends in Hari, so it's a beautiful circle. So you just say the mantra softly to yourself, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Move it to the next bead, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And keep moving from one bead to the next until you get all the way around. It's as simple as that. And yeah, she loved doing the japa. She had a lot of time at some, a certain stage through her cancer that she had a lot of time because she could only lie down. She didn't have any energy to do much. And we've got a beautiful track of our spiritual master chanting japa. So she couldn't really have the energy to move her lips, but she just listened and moved the beads as he said the mantras. And it was just a wonderful thing to go through with her, and it was so, just such a nice experience. Just not depressing. I never felt depressed once. I had a few tears because I'll miss her, but it was still a wonderful experience to go through with her. And I was very fortunate. I felt she was such an inspiration the way she left. She didn't complain. I don't think she complained. She just said it's a suffering experience, but she never whinged. And there were so many things breaking down in her body every time I went. And yeah, she never complained or whinged about it. She just focused on where she needed to, instead of being a victim of it. So yeah, attitude has a lot to do with it. How we experience and how we go through these experiences as well.